What is something that happens at casinos that is hidden from the public? I wandered down to the basement of MGM from a truck rampant man. It was like a whole city down there. Imagine a massive warehouse with roads and offices and supplies everywhere. The opposite of the glitz going on above it. My ex worked for MGM for a while and she hooked me up with a comped room at Nye when I came to visit family. She met me at the check-in at Nye and then asked if I wanted to see her office. She took me through a door, down some steps, and then through several corridors, passing by laundries, cafeterias, locker rooms, offices, storage, etc. She would point out all of these different areas and points of interest along the way, and all I could think of, where the hell are we? Are we even in the same hotel? We eventually go up some stairs and out a door, and we're now at the Valet, an area next to where her office is located. Granted, we've only walked a few properties over, but it's simply unbelievable how much activity there is underneath those hotels. All the seats they have to replace because of the shockingly high number of PPL that evacuate their bladders and bowels in them. My friend and I were at a casino, and while I was playing blackjack, my friend decided to do 10 push-ups for every hand I won. He was drunk. As he was doing his first set, the dealer tells me you really need to tell him not to put his face that close to the floor under this table. You can't imagine how disgusting it is. I was in the women's bathroom at Mandalay Bay and found not one, but 2 discarded adult diapers thrown in the toilets. Not even the trash can. I guess some people are kind enough to wear diapers and not shit in the seats. Old people dying. I knew a couple who worked the cage and the floor at a Hard Rock, and they used to tell me stories about this. When they found someone dead at a machine, they'd quietly get them into a wheelchair, put a blanket over them, and roll them out the back to a waiting ambulance. They also talked about how often people would kill themselves. One guy climbed the safety fence and jumped off the top of the parking garage, and they found a lot of people dead in their bathtub in various ways. That and watching someone bet and lose the same amount as my student loans in about 5 minutes absolutely ruined casinos for me. They just depressed the shit out of me. When I worked at a casino, we were told to avoid having someone declared dead on the floor at all costs. We were supposed to transport them to the employee area and have emergency responders meet us there. Suicides. Properties go to great lengths to hide these events from the public, given how bad for business it is. But it happens and quickly taken care of. It's a very open but grim secret amongst casino workers, apparently. 90 of casinos have private areas for the high rollers, politicians, gangsters, and other vipes. I was able to deal cards at one of those events. I was literally tipped $500 by some guy for keeping the water liquid. My wife is friends with a lady whose husband drives VIPs around for a casino. The top guys get assigned a special room with their own private butler. They might be gambling $100 per hand and tipping $5 for drinks, rides, etc. This reminded me of a story I heard when I was living in Australia. At the time, one of the richest guys in Australia was Kerry Packer. Old man Packer liked to gamble and would regularly fly to Vegas and gamble huge. I dated a girl at the time who was a dealer in one of his casinos and said he was known to tip big, and once had asked a cocktail waitress how much he had left on her mortgage and tipped her that much. Several years later, I was in Vegas talking to a pit boss and was relaying this story, and without missing a beat, he said, "That's a true story." A couple are not hidden, but not obvious to the average casino goer. Some casinos add scents to the air. They do not pump in extra oxygen in, as some people believe. They also keep the temperatures on the cool side to keep people from getting sleepy. No clocks on the walls, and in general, no windows with views to the outside. To add to your list, casino carpets are intentionally designed with crazy patterns. They are distracting to look at, so you keep your eyes up and focused on the slot machines and gaming tables. They also make it hard to find the exits and are easier to keep clean. There is a whole science to designing casino carpet patterns. The casinos hire researchers to develop scents that not only promote gambling, they make you more likely to lose. Then they pump that shit into the ventilation system. Just how much money goes unclaimed collected? I worked in the accounting department at one of the main gaming conglomerates and was tasked with cleaning up their unclaimed property accounts. There were players AK Wales who'd deposited millions and just forgot about it for years. I knew someone who hit the jackpot on a slot. It was around $200,000. The casino managers came out to verify, but they said the machine malfunctioned and it didn't count. How is that legal? Not sure about Western casinos, but this is for Asian casinos. Asians generally subscribe to the supernatural and definitely the superstitions that go along with gambling. Casino owners tend to hire ghost babies, toils or kumantongs, aborted baby spirits to kind of curse players into losing. Superstitious players will bring candies, toss them under tables so the ghost babies leave them alone because of the candy bribe, and let them win. Robberies murders. The father of a friend of mine was robbed, stabbed and killed in the parkade of a local casino in the late 90s, after he won big. It never made the news, and a friend of mine who worked at the same casino 5 years later swore I was making it up because she had never heard anything about it. After talking to a few security guys, she finally had someone give her an off-the-record, wink Kalev confirmation that it did happen, but they went the extra mile to keep the story buried. The number of kids who are left alone at a casino so mom and dad can gamble. Not on the floor, but gift shops or food courts. It's pretty sad. The casinos used to have pretty damn good arcades. My folks would gamble for an hour or two and leave me with a roll of quarters. The arcades were safe, clean, and had every popular game. It's been a while since I have been to a casino, but I can't imagine that the financial model for arcade games as they exist now really supports. Not totally hidden from the public since I, a member of the public, was shown it. But major casinos in Vegas have an armory room. Stockpiles of weapons and tactical gear. Was staying at a casino on the main strip and had a number of guns with me for a meet-up at a nearby shooting range and asked the front desk if they had somewhere I could keep them since I didn't really like the idea of leaving them unattended in my room or car. A security guy came out and said follow me to the armory and led me to an extremely secure room full of all kinds of rifles and vests and pointed to an empty locking cabinet I could put my stuff in and gave me a claim ticket to pick them back up again later. A bunch of years ago, the matriarch of a family jumped overboard because she spent the family's vacation cash in the casino on our cruise ship. The office in the basement where you can sign over your house for gambling money. There's one on the floor at Foxwoods. They have signs up behind the cage about how easy it is to leverage real estate to the house. I don't go to the casino often, maybe once every 3 years. But I've seen exactly one guy standing at that window. My dad was a security guard at a casino for 15 years. One time a guy signed his house over and lost all of the money and dropped dead on the casino floor. Human trafficking happens a lot in casinos. I very briefly worked at one and a huge part of the training was human trafficking. Also, roaches are everywhere. Not sure about all casinos, but security banging the restaurant girls was pretty common where I worked. Manager of the restaurant got fired for having sex in the back on the prep table. Apparently, there are lots of cameras in casinos. Who knew? Burglaries of the rooms. I was staying at the Four Queens downtown many years ago and my room was burglarized in what was clearly an inside job. Housekeeping had cased the room. They picked which bags had which items at the time. Then when the burglary happened later that evening, they ignored much more valuable items in bags that had not arrived until later and were not part of the initial scan. They then tried to extort us after calling later at night. Management would not provide video, call logs or other data and was totally useless, as interestingly, was LVPD. Never in my life has it been clearer that something was organized crime. I was an auditor for a casino. They are watching everyone at all times and the cameras can zoom in to see all the details of what you're looking at on your phone, etc. No secrets in casinos. Secret VIP. Doors. I used to hang with high rollers. If you wagered over $400 Cofier at the casino, you're given a VIP card to access private rooms and lounges. Randomly next to a slot machine in the wall would be a card reader. Even if you did see it, you might assume it's a staff area, but in reality, it was a VIP lounge. One door opens to a huge balcony overlooking the lobby. Full bar, food, and private staff that will take care of you. Here in Australia, it's money laundering. Any gambling wins here are tax-free. So if you've got shitloads of dirty cash and you need to clean it, go to any pub, club, casino, etc. and start feeding your ill-gotten gains into a pokey machine, press collect, and hey presto, clean money. You don't even need to play. Just collect tax-free cash. I worked in a casino for a couple years in Scotland, and there's a whole database on the customers. What you wear, who you talk to, what your hair looks like. Also, if we didn't know your name and we had to put you on the machine next to us, sometimes we'd just call you Twat One or Man with Awful Hair. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below the video, write if you've ever been to a casino. And don't forget to watch our other videos